Question number 10. Solve 2x squared plus 8x minus 42 equals 0 by completing the square. How can we do that? My first step is just going to be to add 42 to both sides of the equation. That might be a good first step. 0 plus 42 is just 42. Now, our next step will be to actually factor out the 2 from these two elements. So 2x squared divided by 2 is just x squared. 8x divided by 2 is just 4x. Then I'm going to leave myself some room over here. And why is that? Well, we need a perfect square trinomial to complete the square. And we're going to add a number over here, which we're going to also take it away, just so that we don't change the equation. And that number that we will add will make this a perfect square trinomial. And what is that number? Let's find out what it is by taking the 4. We take the 4, we divide it by 2, and we square it. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. So we add the 4 and we take it away. Wonderful. So now we have our perfect square trinomial right here. X squared plus 4x plus 4. But now I want to take this away. I want to take this out of the parentheses. Why is that? Because to factor this, I can't have this 4 being subtracted here. So let me take that out of the parentheses. And to do that, I'll need to multiply it by 2. So I'm just going to have a negative 8 outside. Because 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Great. Now I can factor this. That's a perfect square trinomial. And to factor it, or by factoring it, we're going to obtain x plus 2 squared. How can I quickly see this? Well, you can just take the 4 and divide it by 2. And that will give us this number right there, the 2. If you're skeptical, if you're telling yourself or asking yourself, hey, what's going on here? X squared plus 4x plus 4 turned into x plus 2 squared. Remember that x plus 2 squared is just x plus 2 times x plus 2. If we FOIL this, we would get x squared plus 4x plus 4. So the 2 is still right here. And so is the 8 being subtracted. Now I can also add 8 to both sides of the equation. So these would cancel out. And 42 plus 8 is 50. Look at that. We're so close to the answer now. So bear with me. We want to isolate x, so I also want to get rid of this 2. Can divide both sides by 2. Those will cancel out. So we're going to have x plus 2 squared equals 50 divided by 2 is 25. So now let me continue over here. What is the next step? Well, I want to get rid of this square. So let's take the square root of both sides. Once I take the square root of 25, I need to put a plus or a minus here. And these would cancel out, so we end up with x plus 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 25, which is 5. We want to isolate x, so I will subtract 2 from both sides of the equation. So we end up with negative 2 plus or minus 5. Two answers. The first one being negative 2 plus 5. Negative 2 plus 5 is equal to 3. And the other will be negative 2 minus 5, which is negative 7. That's it. This or these are our solutions. X is equal to -7 and 3. We're done.